Did you know you can do nail art with just glitter, dip powder, and dip liquids? What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. Today we are going to do a mani that I have been wanting to do for a long time, doing some cute nail art with just some glitter dips. And it's really fun if you pick one like this glitter that I'm using that has these adorable little flower glitter pieces in them. It's going to make your mani pop even more. So you want to start out with your base of your mani. And for this one, the two colors that I'm using are called Showstopper and First Bloom. They are both from CN Designer Dips. Showstopper is the shimmery pink, and then First Bloom is the one with the flowers. So this will work even if you don't have a dip powder with glitter in it. If you have some loose glitter that say you got free from an order that's different shapes, you can do the same steps that I'm gonna do and to give your mani a nice little pop. Whenever I'm working with shimmery dip powders, I like to pour them over. Because I have builder gel on my natural nails, I only need to do 2 dips of the powder, and then I do 1 dip of the clear. So that's what I'm starting working on first. I typically have builder gel or rubber base down on my natural nails to keep them strong because I like to pop off my manis, and sometimes like in my head I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to pop off my mani so that I can do a new one. And then I don't end up doing one for like 3 or 4 days just because, life and I have kids. So keeping some kind of base down on your natural nails is really, really nice when you're using peel base, because then if you do take a couple days in between to do a mani, it's not a big deal. You have something protecting them. If you can't use builder gel or rubber base, those are both gels that you have to cure in a light. If you're allergic or you don't want to use a light, you can also use clear dip powder. That's something I found that a lot of people do if they can't use builder gel or any kind of rubber base or any gel related product. You would do 2 to 3 dips of clear dip powder, activate it, and then file it smooth before you do your peel base. So some people do like to use peel base down on their natural nails, and they keep their nails short, or maybe they can keep their nails long without breaking. I'm way too wild with my hands. Basically with like anything I do, I break things. That includes my nails. So I have to keep something on them at all times or I will break them. I broke a nail once by somehow like smashing it into a wall on vacation. And this was when I had dip powder on too. Somehow I smashed it so hard that the dip powder and builder gel broke because that is how rough I am. For somebody like me, if you're like me and you're really rough on your hands, you definitely want to keep something down as your base if you're not always going to have your dip powder manis on top. If you just dip directly on your natural nails, it's really nice still to use clear dip powder as your base and do 2 to 3 dips of clear. This way you don't have to build your apex with the solid color. They tend to get thicker when you're building it with the color dip powder or especially the glitter versus if you're just building your apex with clear. The clear dip powder, since it is just clear, doesn't have anything else in it, your nails can stay a lot thinner. So personally, that's why I like to either recommend using a base of clear dip powder or a builder gel or rubber base under your dip manis. Now let's talk about some tricks for dipping a really chunky glitter, especially one that has glitter pieces like these little flowers. So on the first dip, your main goal is just to get like the base of the dip powder. You don't want to get too many of the big chunky glitter pieces. That's going to make your nail way too thick and it's going to be harder to get the chunky pieces to lay flat, especially when they're shapes like this, like a flower or some kind of other little shape. So on the second dip, you want to pick up more of the chunky glitter pieces. That's where you're going to initially start to pick them up, and then you can hand place them. And I made a mistake when I was doing it. I took the piece of tape on my other hand and pressed down before my nails had a little bit of chance to dry. So you want that second layer to be a little bit dry before you start to press it down. If you press it down too soon, then you're going to accidentally pull off some of the glitter, which is what I did. It got stuck to the tape on my other hand. And I always use a piece of washi tape, or if you don't have washi, you can use painter's tape or masking tape. It's going to keep the dip base and the glitters off your skin, which we definitely don't want any of that on your skin. I know it's not gel, but even having the dip powders and the dip base in your skin can still lead to contact dermatitis and itchy skin. So I really try hard to keep all that off my hands. And that's actually why I wear gloves for every mani. I want to keep the powder off my skin as much as possible. So I know you don't see a lot of people doing this, but I'm doing my nails at home and I prefer to give you the safest ways possible that I've found. Now, once you have the main chunky glitters down that you wanted, then you can go and hand place a couple more. All you need to do is add some dip base, pick up, like I'm picking up the flowers, and I add them to a couple spots in my nails where there weren't any. Adding a little bit of extra dip base and then placing the flowers gives your flowers something to adhere better to, because if you tried to just set them down over top of your dip powder that you already have, it's not going to stay so well. And now I'm going to show you one of the biggest tricks to getting your glitters to lay really flat. You're going to take your activator or your step 2 from whatever brand you're using, and you want to take some kind of little piece of plastic. So I'm using a little plastic baggie, and once you very carefully dab the activator down over your nail, you're going to wrap the piece of plastic bag or plastic wrap, whatever you choose, over your nail so that everything lays flat. And you want to let the activator dry for maybe like 10 seconds before you put that baggie on so that you don't get any of the pieces stuck on the baggie. Now I'm going to show you how to do this easy nail art with the glitter pieces. And what you want to do is start by applying 2 thin layers of dip base down to your nail. So I basically just take some dip base, apply it to my nail, then takes a little bit more, another thin layer, and apply it again. Then that gives you time. By doing dip base 2 times, it's going to make your dip base take longer to dry. So CN's liquids dry a little bit faster for me, and I really make sure that I do 2 nice layers down and still keep them thin. This way I had time to hand place all these glitters. I used an orange wood stick to do all the hand placing this time. If you don't have an orange wood stick, you can use a toothpick. You can actually use a wax tool. You can use a bunch of different nail tools to place these, because what you want to do is dip whatever pointy nail tool you're using onto the nail so it picks up a little bit of the base, then dip it down onto your glitters, pick one up, and then place it where you want. Now I'm using this flexible plate from SJ3. It's really nice for when you're doing something like this, that you can see all the glitter pieces laid out, so you get to choose what ones you want to apply where on your nails without them like being in a big clump. One of the great things about using glitter pieces to make nail art is you don't have to be good at nail art. All you're doing is placing glitter into whatever shape you want. And I wanted mine to be like a little swoop of the flowers. And then I took some of the little circular glitter pieces, some of the smaller ones, and just placed them on the side to give it, a little bit of something else. Then I did the same process that I did on my ring finger. I dabbed some activator down onto the flowers and then used the plastic baggie to really press them down so that they would lay flat. You do not have to do this, but what happens when you don't do this is your glitter ends up sticking up. It won't lay flat typically. Like when you have these bigger glitter pieces, they don't lay as flat. So it's really nice to do that activator and baggie trick so your glitter isn't sticking up. And then you'd have to do, say, like 2 or 3 layers of clear dip powder over top just to get it to cover up so that you don't accidentally file pieces of the glitter off. Since I got them to lay so flat, I was just able to do 1 dip of clear dip powder over all my glitter, and this way my nails didn't get super thick. Something that you definitely want to be aware of when you're applying clear dip powder over glitters that you had put activator on is you really want to give the activator a chance to dry, or you could end up contaminating your dip base. So before you go and apply your dip base on again to top with clear dip powder, 100% make sure that that activator is nice and dry. It's hard. You can like tap on it to make sure that you don't feel any stickiness. And if you're really concerned about it, you can even wipe off your dip base brush on a lint-free wipe or a paper towel before you put it back into the dip base bottle. Honestly, I forgot about that part. I checked my nails and they were super dry before I went and applied the dip base down. So I wasn't really worried about them getting contaminated, which was good because I forgot to wipe it on a paper towel anyways. Once you apply your clear dip powder down, then really brush it off well to make sure that your nails aren't any thicker than they need to be. I brush off the excess dip powder after every single layer just to make sure that my nails don't get any thicker. Once your activator's hardened, you can tap on your nails And that's how you'll be able to tell if they are ready to buff and file and shape. I did all that off camera so that you guys wouldn't have to watch that, and we could jump into the top coating. And I wanted to show you a little bit of what my hands look like when I'm doing my nails. I wipe off with isopropyl alcohol before I go and do my top coating after I've filed and buffed and shaped. And my hands are really, really dry when I use isopropyl alcohol on them, because at this point in the mani, I've used it a couple times. So my hands kind of look white. They look like I almost painted them partially white. They're not. It's just super dry. And once I put cuticle oil and lotion on them, they go back to being normal. For a while, it made me really self-conscious about why my hands looked like this when other people don't show this in their videos. But you know what? I have decided that I'm just going to keep being me in videos and not worrying. So what? This is what my hands look like, okay? It doesn't mean that I still can't do my nails nicely just because they're not as aesthetic looking. So now we're going to get into the top coating. And you want to make sure that whatever brand you're using, you follow their top coating instructions, because most brands are a little bit different with the timing. With CN's liquids, you apply activator on 5 nails and let that dry for 60 seconds. Then you go back to the first nail that you activated and do 2 to 3 thin strokes of the top coat of the first layer of top coat. You go thumb to pinky. And then once you get to your pinky, you'll count to 30 and then go back in for the second layer of top coat, which can be a bit more detailed. And no matter what brand of dip liquids that I'm using, I float both layers of the top coat. Helps to keep me from contaminating the top coat brush, which really just means that your top coat brush would get hard from having too much activator on it or not enough. Now that you know how easy it is to hand place glitter to make nail art, I'm going to help you learn how to do chunky glitter ombres. So check out the next video. Thanks so much for joining me today, Nail Crew.